Hello, welcome back. My name's Joseph. You're listening and watching to the My Cross, His Grace podcast radio. Hey, listen, your replacements are here. Americans are out and foreign nationals are in. While we know that there is evil in the world, there are many more good people here as well. But good people typically don't make the news at night, the headlines. It's always about the bad, the horrific, the shocking that leads the broadcast to get everyone's attention. I'm not telling you something you don't already know. That's about ratings. In our country, I've discovered a shocking truth that you need to hear. Part of that truth is that we have many good people here in the United States. Our way of life, our culture, for anyone to embrace, and most people everywhere across the fruited plain, that is the country of ours, get along really very well. In fact, we get along so very well that that's a problem for the deep state and the deep church, that they have to import people to fight with each other to make it look like we don't get along with each other. And because it doesn't fit the narrative that we dislike each other so much. That's why they've decided to replace you. The migrant invasion is a plan to replace each one of us with one of them. There's lines at the airports and other places of fighting age men from numerous countries, including China, the Middle East, Africa, and it's single men. They're not accompanied by a spouse or children or anything. This is an observation that demands investigation, and we have to look into the reasoning for that and what's the plan for them. Take any incident that becomes a media sensation, and all can see how the media fans the flames of these things all the time. See, the formula for the division narrative, that is, works something like this. Have an incident or take advantage of one, and then incite protest and riots and various forms of civil unrest, and then suggest solutions like turn in your guns and create some laws, you'll be safe. And this is what they try to tell you. And it's like over and over again, you keep hearing the same thing, as if it's going to sink in and you're going to willingly give up your guns. Why are they always after your guns? That's a giant red flag right there. An unarmed population will not be able to resist tyranny. You see, you don't realize it, but you're in the way. And you're being replaced. The deep state and the deep church doesn't like your Western ideas, your influences or ability to influence others, your ability to speak freely, let alone your ability to defend yourself. If you're a Christian, that's a problem. And that, of course, includes all the denominations of Christianity: Catholic, Lutheran, Methodist, Presbyterian, Pentecostal, Baptist, Episcopalian, and all the other non-denominational Christian churches. You see, your Western ideas and beliefs threaten dictators and people who desire to use unchecked power to control the lives of others without any opposition. The denominations I just mentioned a moment ago, that's not different religions, it's different denominations of Christianity. We worship the same God. But that's a problem because we don't believe in them. The tyrannical government, that is, the deep state or the deep church. Yes, folks, there is a deep church as well. And certainly you don't mean Pope Francis, Joseph, when you say that, do you? Hey, I think a block of Swiss cheese is holier, but you decide for yourself. Senator Dick Durbin, in the last couple of days, is now supporting a measure to allow migrant invasion people to be allowed into the U.S. military as a path for them towards citizenship. Recruiting efforts are down, and they think that this is a great idea to allow migrants into the military to replace those who are not signing up. Wow, didn't we report that on this channel a few videos back? We certainly did. This was predicted, and it's exactly what they're trying to do. Next, they'll have the United Nations bringing peacekeeping missions and blue-helmeted people in here to help police for you, because you ran off all the police who grew up here understanding our founding documents, the Boston Tea Party, your freedoms and rights, and replaced them with people who didn't have that upbringing or education and don't care about those things, such as your rights as given to you in our founding documents. They don't care about that. Have you noticed all the new apartment buildings everywhere going up? Who are they for? And don't forget that term that was used very liberally in the last couple of years. You're not hearing too much about it now because it's taken care of itself the way they had intended it to, but depopulation. That's a narrative of Bill Fence, get it? Gates. The military is dead or dying from some bad juice. Remember in the past video, episode 11, I asked where are all the men, the priests, the pastors, the ministers? We've also heard me speak about the church closing its doors during the COVID period because they wanted to worship the almighty dollar instead of Almighty God. Oh, you're being too harsh, Joseph. We don't like that. Listen, they've already told you who they are. You see, we go to church to hear the sermons, to hear the gospels preached, to encourage missions and to help the poor and encourage everyone who needs encouragement, to anoint the sick and to conduct the business of the church, baptisms and weddings and funerals and worship services itself. Today's church should emulate the work of the early prophets, but instead they ask for your money and they tell you who they really are, which is a 501c3 nonprofit, get it? Nonprofit, like Peter and Paul, they're not. So let's teach a little here. There were apostles and disciples, and the two are not the same. While the Gospels were written by Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, only Matthew and John were original disciples of Jesus. So if only two disciples wrote about Jesus, how do we learn about the deposit of faith? In 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 15, it says, "So then, brothers and sisters, stand firm and hold fast to the teachings we passed on to you, whether by word or by letter." Because the others didn't write anything down doesn't lessen their influence in the faith. There's an oral history to be told and shared and practiced. Home churches were a big thing back then, and their popularity actually still exists today. If you ever have a chance to share in such a service, consider it. A worship service around a campfire or even an industrial setting counts, because as Jesus taught us, where two or more are gathered in his name, I am there present with you. So listen, don't give up on your faith or your guns. Be more vigilant as we go into 2024. The challenges will become greater for all of us. And that's why I encourage you always in your faith and in your prayer life. You've been listening to and watching the My Cross, His Grace podcast radio. This is Joseph. Thank you.